For an Israeli, tzahal is an obligation. For a ben chutz la'aretz, for one residing in the diaspora, an extraordinary, noble, selfless dedication to our people and our homeland. For this, we could not be more proud.
My name is Ariel Fromwitz. I graduated TABC in 2016. I drafted in 2018, August of 2018, and I will be done with my service in 4 more months.
I graduated TABC in 2014, and I served in the IDF in 2016 and 2017 in the Givati Brigade.
I drafted to the Army in March of 2018 to Totchanim, or artillery.
I graduated TABC in 2016. From there I went to Yeshivat HaKotel. I drafted to Handasat Kravit, or combat engineering.
I originally started out as a commanding officer and squad commander within the Golani Infantry Unit, and these days I am the captain in military intelligence, serving the Special Operations Directorate.
After finishing basic and advanced training, I spent a deployment on the northern Gaza Strip.
Served in the Nahal Infantry Brigade, light machine gunner, lots of fun.
I was a sharpshooter. I served on the border of Gaza.
I served in the Golani Brigade, Geduch 12, from March 2011 through July 2012.
I served in the Kfir Brigade from March 2013 to May 2014.
I served in Chativat Givati, and I work as the Director and Dean of Student Life in a marketing fellowship here in Israel.
I served in Golani during the Second Intifada and am currently an assistant professor of clinical emergency medicine at Yale University School of Medicine.
I served as a combat medic in Chativat Golani Gdud 51. I am currently studying neurobiology and physiology at the University of Maryland and plan to return to Israel for medical school.
I served in Tzanchanim, and I'm currently in my 3rd year of dental school at Hebrew University.
I'm currently now program director for the Israel Experience. I work bringing more and more kids to come and travel here in Israel.
Currently, I'm working as an engineer on the construction of the Tel Aviv light route.
Currently, I live in Karnei Shomron with my wife Bracha and my daughter Yael. I also am clerking for a judge in the Tel Aviv Magistrate Court.
To this day, I still serve in reserve duty in a unit that's trained to deal with extreme cases of chesed shel emet.
I was in Givati and I now work in high tech in Israel.
I'm currently working in the tourism field here in Israel.
I'm an electrical engineer at Intel and I'm helping design cutting-edge technology.
Today I'm studying in Hebrew University of Jerusalem. Go Storm!
I am very proud of all of our alumni, but especially those who have chosen to spend several years in the IDF. I enjoy seeing them in Israel with their guns slung over their shoulders in such a casual way.
For thousands of years, we've been persecuted across every country around the world. Now that we could finally defend ourselves, how could I not do my part?
One particular story from my service that made me truly believe that what I was doing was meaningful was a time I spent on the northern border of Israel during Operation Northern Shield, when I had the opportunity to be part of a mission to destroy the terror tunnels leading from Lebanon into northern Israel.
On Leil Shabbat, on a random summer week, I see an interesting boy run from his town to the neighboring Arab town. Immediately calling my unit and searching around, we have prevented a kidnapping that Baruch Hashem did not make it to the news.
It was a Friday afternoon and we were standing along the road watching guard over all the Jewish cars passing by. And I was watching all these Jewish families drive home for Shabbos, knowing that they could be home safely because we were watching over them.
I was stationed outside of Shechem. Every month, Israelis who wanted to daven in Kever Yosef, which unfortunately is right now in Area A and controlled by the Palestinian Authority, we would go in and we would secure the place. So I was walking around with a demolitions expert and he realized that I was religious, and so he said, I'll watch the door for a few minutes, take a couple minutes and daven to yourself. And I caught myself thinking that, like, wow, what other time would we have had the opportunity to stand here and, just have Kever Yosef to myself.
About a month and a half ago, when we uncovered a tunnel that exited Gaza and was aimed at infiltrating A, my base, and B, a community right behind us.
I first realized the importance of my service while stationed by the border of Gaza during the riots, and the people in the nearby towns would come up to us and offer us snacks and ices during the summer, just to say thank you and show how appreciative they were.
On the day of my Tekas Hashpa'ah, my swearing-in ceremony, I show up in the Cheder Ochel, in the dining room, in time for lunch, and all of a sudden I get a standing ovation. They start clapping for me, and I try to figure out what happened, and it turns out that in recognition of the fact that I moved to Israel and I had worked so hard to join the army and all the hard work I put in, they decided to award me Mitzvah Mofet, the highest level of honor a person can get at the end of basic training.
I served in a unit made up of new immigrants. And when it came time to Minyan, we were 10 different soldiers from 8 different countries. And it was such a powerful experience to see. And no matter where we were from in the world, whether America, South America, Europe, Australia, there was even a guy from India. No matter where we were from, we were all one. We were all together as the Jewish people here in Israel.
There are plenty of times on a Sunday back to base or on a Shabbat off from the Army. We run into other alumni, other people in our class, people who graduated before me from TABC, people who drafted after me. And it was just like a mini reunion.
I was privileged to have a bunch of TABC friends attend my Tekas Hashba'ah, my swearing-in ceremony. And although they were there to cheer me on and give me support, I felt like they had a sense of pride themselves in seeing their ideals and their values being lived out.
When Leo Raps was in the army in Hebron, and I was in yeshiva in Hebron, there was a TABC semifinal hockey game at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I woke up, I joined Leo Raps in his Shmirah booth, and there we were at 3 o'clock in the morning in the middle of Hebron in a Shmirah booth watching TABC hockey.
2 of my TABC classmates were in the IDF at the same time that I was, including my close friend Ilan Tokayer of blessed memory. And we were in touch throughout our service to lend each other support and to reminisce about our TABC days.
A lot of what pushed me to serve in the Army, as well as close to 15% of our graduating class, is a lot of the chinuch that we got from TABC, which basically rests on the teachings of Rav Soloveitchik, who taught us the inherent and fundamental connection that the Jewish people have to the land of Israel, a connection which cannot be severed.
The Rebbeim there and the role models there really gave me the hashkafa and the values that I was able to take with me throughout my service and to where I am today.
Having the Israel of today really tied into the Israel of biblical times when I was studying were huge influencers on my decision to make a move, serve my country, and put my ideals ahead of everything else.
Whether it was learning Jewish advocacy with Rabbi JACHTER or being from Reinat, hearing Rabbi Adler speak almost every weekend about how important it was to live in Israel and to give as much as we can to the state of Israel.
Everyone had that sense that they were teaching us and that they were giving us, through their example, a feeling that we could make a difference in the world.
In the 12th grade, I created an elective course called Holocaust Studies. And when I see these students serve in Tzahal to defend Eretz Yisrael, I know then that the lessons that I've taught them have been well learned, for they understand that Eretz Yisrael is the key to this never happening to our people again.
The values that I got at TABC, both of being a mensch, of being a good person, of being proud of your Judaism, of loving Eretz Yisrael, of being a Ben Torah, those came loud and clear.
Just hearing the Rebbeim speak about Eretz Yisrael all the time and our commitment to Eretz Yisrael and Am Yisrael, Rabbi WIENER and Rabbi JACHTER and Rabbi Nachbar and Rabbi Reynolds probably had the biggest impact on me.
Especially Rabbi Adler, constantly day in, day out, tell us either what's happening in Israel or things that we could do to support Israel.
I remember every day in both junior and senior when we welcome Alphabet. And I remember Rabbi JACHTER taking the Tanakh and showing us that Tanakh is much more than just a history book. That you see within Tanakh the Jewish people's connections to Eretz Yisrael.
TABC would take me to NORPAC meetings, APAC meetings, and what I came to the realization was that it wasn't just enough to defend Israel with my words, but rather I needed to defend Israel in a physical way.
When I went to the Army, it wasn't as popular, there weren't as many people doing it, there weren't as many people moving here, and as time goes on, I meet more and more TABC alumni who have made that jump, and it's becoming more common.
Israeli soldiers always looked to those volunteering to motivate them and to continue to give them strength to move forward.
TABC inspired me to join the IDF because they knew it was a lifelong dream of mine, and my rabbis supported me the whole way, and I'm still in contact with them today.
The support that I received from the teachers and the administration, both before, during, and after my Army service, the trips with Mr. P to Hebron, the phone calls and advice that I received from many of my Rebbeim and teachers when I was in the Army, the chizuk that I received from them, all played a really important part in my decision to join the Army and sustain me while I was in the Army.
I'm incredibly grateful for my time at TABC, for all the memories, friends, hockey championships that were created over those 4 years. That time not only helped inspire me to join the IDF, but it also made me who I am today.
TABC alumni who have served in Tzahal, we're so proud of you. You understand all of the teachings that we at TABC communicated to you. And that's why we're honoring you here at this dinner, because everyone here is so enormously proud of you.
אבותינו הקדושים דורשים יברך חיילי ישראל את חיילי ישראל משברך אבותינו הקדושים הקדושים הוא יברך חיילי ישראל יוריד חיילי ישראל